The ocean doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't slow down because you're scared. It doesn't wait because you're unsure. The ocean respects one thing: motion. Sharks don't swim because it feels good. They swim because if they stop, they die. And that, right there, is the mindset. You want to rise, then you move, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. You don't stall, you don't float, you don't tread water hoping success comes by. You hunt it. That's what thinking like a shark means. It's a decision to move forward with precision, with power, and without apology. Because in this life, the second you stop pursuing, stop growing, stop acting, is the moment you begin to drown in mediocrity. Sharks are not the fastest, they are not the smartest, but they are the most committed, locked in, laser-focused, unshakable. They don't chase everything, they chase what matters. They don't bite at every ripple, they wait, then strike. And you've been too distracted, too busy chasing noise, too afraid to go deep, too cautious to commit. But success lives in the deep, not in the shallows where the crowd swims playing it safe, afraid of what lies beneath. You weren't built for shallow, you weren't born to drift. You were designed for depth, for danger, for dominance. And that means cutting loose the comfort, killing the excuses, outgrowing the stories you keep telling yourself. No more. I'll start tomorrow. No more. I'm not ready. No more. What if I fail? What if you drown in regret instead? What if you spend your whole life floating while others are hunting? You think Edison paused because it was hard? You think Carnegie waited for permission? You think Oprah didn't bleed for the crown she wears today? They didn't swim in circles. They locked in like predators. And they attacked. Because the vision was worth the pain. A shark doesn't care if it's tired. It doesn't care if the water's cold or the waves are rough. It just swims. And that's the lesson. Discipline over mood, motion over comfort, action over excuses. You have one job: to keep going. Even when you're doubted, even when you're dismissed, even when the blood is yours and the water is thick with fear, especially then. Because that's what separates sharks from fish. You think people will hand you success? You think wealth, freedom, purpose will swim to your feet? Number, you chase it, you lock eyes with it, and you don't blink. You adapt, you evolve, you sharpen your instincts, you train your mind to see opportunity in chaos. You build resilience so deep the storms only make you faster. When others panic, you strategize. When others quit, you double down. When others sink, you rise, faster, leaner, smarter. You stop chasing approval, you stop fearing judgment, you stop flinching at the unknown. You become unignorable, not because you talk louder, but because you move sharper, not because you demand attention, but because you earn it. Through discipline, through obsession, through consistent, relentless pursuit. You wake up every morning with hunger, not hesitation. You measure your day not in hours, but in progress. You don't do it for applause. You do it because you know the crown isn't given, it's taken. And while they laugh, you sharpen. While they scroll, you study. While they party, you push. Because your mission is bigger than their opinions. Your vision is deeper than their surface noise. You are not moved by storms. You are not broken by pressure. You are shaped by it. Because pressure creates killers. Look at the greats. Steve Jobs was exiled. He came back sharper. Mandela was caged. He came back stronger. Disney was rejected over and over. He came back with a world. That's what sharks do. They don't retreat. They reload. They don't negotiate with fear. They use it. They don't float through life. They carve through it. You want legacy? Then think like a shark. Stay hungry. Stay moving. Stay focused. And when the weak fold, when the fakes panic, when the crowd swims in circles, you'll be miles ahead, locked onto your next target. Because sharks don't stop. Sharks don't drift. Sharks don't die wondering. They die hunting. So decide right now. Are you going to float like prey or strike like a predator? This is your ocean. Own it. Ruthless, focused, unstoppable. That's how to think like a shark. And that's how the world will remember your name. But even sharks evolve. They don't just survive. They adapt, they dominate, and they grow sharper with time. Because survival isn't the goal. Dominance is. Every day you wake up, you're either hunting or being hunted. There is no pause, no safe zone, No mercy in this world for the motionless. The truth is, the moment you stop being a predator in your own life, life preys on you. Bills, doubt, distractions, numbness, they circle like sharks themselves. And if you don't swim faster, if you don't go deeper, they will eat you alive. So you swim harder, you swim with purpose. You cut through noise with precision. You don't waste time on what doesn't feed your purpose. Sharks don't look back. They don't compare themselves to dolphins. They don't envy whales. They focus forward, always. You've spent too much of your life looking sideways, worried about who's ahead, who's winning, who's watching. But sharks don't watch. They close in. Your edge comes not from being perfect, but from being relentless. You fall, you recalibrate, you return, sharper. Think about Henry Ford, bankrupt 5 times, but he swam harder. Think about Thomas Edison, 10,000 failed prototypes, but he kept moving. Think about Colonel Sanders, rejected over 1,000 times before he fried his first empire. They didn't tread water, they cut through it. And that's where greatness is forged, in resistance, in pressure, in the silent war between fear and motion. Because the truth is, success isn't glamorous when it's real. It's lonely, it's brutal, it's built when nobody's clapping. You become the killer when you no longer need permission to move, when you no longer wait to feel confident to act, when you start acting and that creates confidence. Confidence doesn't come first. Courage does. And courage doesn't come from ease. It comes from the choice to act anyway. You're not going to feel ready, do it anyway. You're not going to have it all figured out, move anyway. You're not always going to win, strike anyway. Because only those who move earn the right to grow. Only those who risk pain earn the reward of progress. You want peace? Fight for it. You want clarity? Bleed for it. You want to be unshakable? Then go through the shake and rise. That's what sharks do. They don't drown in pain. They repurpose it. They turn wounds into instinct. They turn fear into fuel. They don't panic in the storm. They glide through it. They don't curse the deep. They claim it. Because once you've bled in the water and still survived, there is nothing you can't face. And that's the moment everything changes. Not when you win, but when you decide to keep swimming when everything tells you to stop. You become a force. Not because you're fearless, but because you no longer fear fear. You look it in the eye and move anyway. That's how a shark becomes unstoppable. And now it's your turn. The prey mindset ends today. No more floating, no more doubting, no more hoping someone throws you a lifeline. You are the current now. You are the motion, you are the danger. Think like a shark, ruthless, focused, unstoppable. Because if you don't, you already know what happens. The world eats the still, the silent drown, the slow fade. But the shark rises, and the world makes way for those who never stop swimming. Move, hunt, become. The ocean is yours. Now claim it.